We're going to take a couple of weeks to make this paper weaving. Today we're going to start by decorating the vertical and horizontal papers. So we'll have different warm and cool papers to weave together. Papers are different sizes, and it really doesn't matter which one is warm or which one's cool or how they're decorated, as you'll see in this video. You decide. So on one of these papers, I might suggest that the students pick an oil pastel, draw as dark as they can so they get a really good resist, and maybe put some stripes on their paper. The stripes could be vertical, they could be horizontal, they could be diagonal. Remember, we're just decorating paper that will be cut up for a weaving later on. Then they might get another color to do some circles. And they can practice making their circles. They can make a big circle, they can make overlapping circles, and they can just fill that paper up with some decorative circles. Don't forget the edges. Get those edges real good too. And then sometimes I'll tell them to make maybe a portrait. Sometimes this is just fun for the heck of it. You know, just draw a nice little face with some eyes, nose, and a mouth. They can give themselves a nice little shirt with some pants. It's winter time, so maybe they're wearing mittens and a hat with a little bit of hair coming out. All right, so we're just kind of filling up the page there with different things. Maybe there's some grass growing, you know. So just kind of fill up that paper. Okay, the next step is to paint over it with watercolor paints. Now, we're going to make another piece of paper that has cool colors, and this one might have warm colors or vice versa, however you want to work it. But if the kids can really separate the warm colors from the cool colors, then their weaving will look better. So I'm going to try cool on this one. I'm going to use green, blue, and purple. Just those three cool colors, okay? So I'll just dip my brush in there and just start painting right over. You can see that those colors immediately will start to resist. All right, so I'm just gonna fill up the whole entire paper. I don't want any white space at all. And I'm gonna fill it all up with these colors. And just paint right on over everything. Remember, we're just decorating paper. So have a little bit of fun with this, but make sure that you get everything covered up and full of some color. The students will cut it into strips anyway after it gets dry. There we go, so easy. So on the next piece of paper, we're gonna do the same thing. And I try to shake it up with different things, like tell them maybe to use a pattern. You know, they could do the X's and O's just to make a pattern on their paper. It doesn't matter what you really do in this background, because like I said, it's going to get all cut up and we're going to weave it together. All right, so just kind of jazz it all up. Maybe even some curvy lines, or you could do different lines, like one curvy line, one straight line, one zigzag line, you know, kind of fill it up with some things like that. And you could do a portrait again, but here's another thing. You could even use white because we're going to watercolor paint over it. So you can use that white in there just to add some texture. And it will not show up so well right now, but after we paint over it, it's going to show up fabulous. There we go. All right, finally, we're going to watercolor again, but this time we're not going to use the cool colors. We're going to use the warm colors, the red, orange, and yellow. just so that we have a contrast between those two sheets of paper. So again, you can do it in any order, just so long as the entire sheet of paper is completely covered, and you can see how that white is starting to show up underneath through my watercolors. So you can put a little bit of yellow in there, and you're just going to cover the whole sheet of paper. So I have decorated two sheets of paper, one with cool colors watercolored over the oil pastel, and one with warm colors watercolored over the oil pastel. I'm going to let these dry, and I'll come by your classroom and pick these up after they have dried so that we can take them off the newspaper and get them ready for the students to cut up next week.